This is the easiest time to be successful. All you need to figure out is one thing.
When the leaders are young generation like me, what is the root cause that we are behaving in a certain way? Is it the influence through our social media? Is it due to what our previous generations have done for us and we are getting ready, right? We don't have to work for it.
So the catch up is almost never possible. Because by the time somebody develops a process to do the same distillation as you distill further. So my regret always is when I found some of these things out, I was in my late 30s and early 40s.
When you were saying this, right, I had this one question going around my mind, right? That what would be the root cause of all this going up? We are talking about how people are behaving, how would this all change? But when the leaders are young generation like me, what is the root cause that we are behaving in a certain way? Is it the influence through our social media? Is it due to what our previous generations have done for us and we are getting ready, right? We don't have to work for it. So we look at a step ahead of us. So what is the root cause of it? Why do you think that my generation thinks a certain way?
I think it's natural progression. The first and foremost step to thinking differently from previous generation is the availability of different set of ideas. Almost all of what you know today did not come to you physically. It came to you digitally. Am I right? Almost all of what you know. Almost what I knew till I was in school, till I finished school, and even till I finished my undergrad, came to me physically. It had to be in a book. Otherwise, there was literally no way for me to find it. I was in that generation where I can say it was before the internet. Right? So if you didn't read, I could hear it from people, or I could read. Those are the only two sources. Today you can sit in the basement of your grandmother's home, order all the food in the world, never leave the room for years, and be completely updated on everything that's happened, including learning AI, Java, advanced Python, and communicating with whoever you want in the world without leaving that room. And you can still be in your other planets doing that. There is no way that would have happened in my time. Right? So what happens is that's natural progression. First and foremost differential is the availability of high-speed internet. That changes everything. The reason why countries are behind in terms of knowledge is because they are not that far ahead. As simple as that. And how does that happen? That happens because eventually, as India was in a state of, I would say, that same government rate of growth, it was called the Hindu rate of growth. It was always a 2%, 3%, 5%. We had to catch up to the rest of the world through a set of policies that starting in 1991 with the Congress government. Then, once you get the ball rolling, when you have 1 billion people, by the time the ball stops, it's going to be 50, 80 years or 100 years because that billion has to move ahead. It's not going to move and stop in 2 years. So what happens at that point? You've done this, so you have to do step 2, you have to do step 3, you have to do step 4. And as that happens, and as we progress in terms of 3, 4, 5, 6, we have taken every single step along the way. India became the center for IT offshoring, as we call it. So a lot of technology work happening here. If you see the news, I think 3 days ago, 4 days ago, this week, Intel has now officially carved India as a separate region. For Intel to call that out, it was always Asia. In many companies, it would be Asia, Asia Pac, and Japan. And then it became Asia plus China. But India was always part of Asia. For somebody like Intel to say, I'm going to carve India out, shows what's happened. The knowledge that is being created here is going to be. As a result of that, you realize that there is ideas originating from here. Then you get to the point of ideating, which was always why America was further ahead. Because the best ideas came from Silicon Valley, the best technology. When that ideation happens, that stopping is not going to happen anytime. And when you get the scale of India growing, just by a sheer percentage point, if 1% of America is ideating, it's 1% of 300 million, that's 3 million. 1% of India starts trading. It's like, just think about it. There's a number of ideas that are going to come about. We're talking about the EV revolution. My family member just returned from Kashi. They have 12 different kinds of EV autos in Kashi alone. You can go to a mechanic, take a regular bike, and they will EV fit it for you so that the fuel efficiency is higher. And the reason why they are doing this EV, because Kashi is seeing a resurgence of tourism because of, so you just see, that's what I'm saying, step one, step two. You're seeing tourism, so lot more people coming in, lot more travel, lot more autos. They want to save money, not spend it on petrol, lot more EV. Look at how it's branching out. So the scale of India will always be 20x, 50x, etc. So when you bring all of this together, then you have this aspect of this juggernaut going places where others have not yet thought about them, have not yet visualized. And that's where both the scary part and the good part is. Meaning, you're going to have more and more information available. You're going to have more and more false information available, incorrect opinions floating. So obviously, you're going to be in a different mindset as a generation than even people who are 5 years older than you. They will have that view, even people who are 5 years older than them. So the real view is that what happens next. This is what I think we spoke about in the prior podcast. The winners are the ones who have the knowledge to distill. Distillation is the superpower. I listened to this person on and off, Dana White, from the UFC. He made a statement sometime ago, just stuck in my mind. He said, this is now the easiest time to be successful. Because in his view, and this is his personal view, most people are focused on, he was saying that, I want to be woke, I want to be this, I want to be climate, I want to be. You have so many issues that are bothering you. You can choose one and go deep. But you're choosing to be upset by so many things. So it leaves so much of time for everybody else who wants to focus, say, man, I want to learn Python, I want to do this, or I want to help a particular community. So but I'm going to focus on that. I cannot help a community save the whales, bring the cheetahs back, save the rhinos. You can't do six, but that's how people. This is the easiest time to be successful. All you need to figure out is one thing and focus. And he said, all I wanted to do was to build out UFC. And the minute our fights were getting people in and people were seeing that this was a real sport, we just exploded in a matter of years, which would have other, excuse me, just imagine inventing a sport and being this successful so quickly. We say this is the easiest time to be successful. please be focused, which is what I say. You can do many things, but please do one thing at a time. Your mind is like an umbrella. It only works when it's open. If you have a closed mind, you will never know. Your mind is also like a browser. You have multiple tabs. It's going slower. Keep one tab. The challenge right now for your generation is even if you want to talk about one aspect, you already have a million opinions. How do you take that little instrument and just go dig deep and go into it? And the people I see who are most successful and happy are the ones who are figure out a process of saying, these are the things I don't want to do, and keep distilling that into distilling. Distillation is a superpower. It is a process that takes time. But once it has gotten even 10% or 20% perfected, you have already elevated yourself to so much higher than everybody else. So the catch up is almost never possible. Because by the time somebody develops a process to do the same distillation as you distill further. So my regret always is when I found some of these things out, I was in my late 30s and early 40s. Had I started even 5 years before, it's night and day. So I think the fact that I see youngsters who are able to think this way, I see you, I see others, it gives me a lot of confidence saying, okay, here are some emerging superstars. And it's not about money. It's not about success. It's about being so focused that you really fulfilling life. What have you, how have you visualized your life at 70? Yes, I got irritated by 70 million things, but I've done the ABCD and I have so many regrets versus somebody who's lived a full life. That's really the goal. I think you have that edge over everybody, which needs to be harnessed correctly. That's why I said it's an opportunity and a responsibility at the same time.
What I feel is that, seeing my friends and people who are around the age of mine, right, we have many, many options, and to select one of them is really tough. Yeah. Because maybe if I go to my college, right, I can also do coding, maybe in tech also, I could do this A thing, B, C, D. If I don't want to go there, there's a different sort of FOMO from doing it. I think people are not motivated to do a thing. It is 90% of a FOMO. If my friend is learning, let's say Python, he would get a job. I won't. I would have to learn Python out of FOMO. Right? Yeah. It will be that my generation will become a sort of a softie in working because we want to have work-life balance. Kunal also told that we salute to the economy of China, America, but those people have spent 100 years working 12 hours a day. Right. Nobody makes a great economy or makes it such a lifestyle for their civilization without putting hard work. And here we are still in the growing phase, but we want to have work-life balance because the Western people are already. Why can't we? But we are forgetting their hard work which we put 100 years.
I'll disagree with some of that. I think the majority of Indians still work. I think that we are magnifying some of the exceptions. I dealt with them. Just to keep things lighter and funny, I'll give you an example. Um, when I was in my first CFO role at MSP, I was also in charge of operations. And we got a request saying, The water dispenser has cold water and hot water. I need a dispenser that has normal water. And they had a rule that whatever the employees ask needs to be done if it is reasonable within 24 hours. And my response was take the cold water, wait for 10 minutes, or take the hot water, wait for 10 minutes. And I then had a discussion with human resources and you're not considering that employee's request. I said, insert a dispenser that has normal water across the building, across 8 acres of campus. It's a lot more expensive than that person's waiting for a few minutes. Was my view. But eventually we settled everything was fine. But that's an exception. Right? So Indians work very hard. We cannot grow as an economy if we're not working this hard. So let's not magnify the exceptions. But guess what? When we are growing and an economy that has hit a certain stride like the US is work-life balance. It's not like we can avoid that thought either. It's not like I'm not going to hear anything. So we are exposed to that concept. But reality is somewhere always it's neither black or white. It's gray. Is work-life balance possible? Yes. Is work-life balance a myth? A little bit. But do people balance it? Yes. Do people struggle with it? Yes. It is individual to each person. So it needs to be addressed. There is no wrong answer or right answer. But to say that for us to think work-life balance when we are working or when we are growing is wrong. No, because that's being propagated heavily in an economy that works. So I would not fully agree that Indians are wrong. We are growing at an absolutely torrid pace. We are what we are for the most part. Second aspect that you talked about, which is your first, do you mind is rehashing the point of what you were trying to make?
Yeah. So, as my generation, we with something with working hard.
Yeah, we need to learn. So, one of the people I respect a lot and follow, read a couple of books as well. Person called Nawal, says more than FOMO, he's GOMO. I'm grateful or missing. Right? I don't want to be in trouble. I don't want to have certain interests. I don't want to have certain things that others have. So I'm grateful not when I see list of options available in front of me. I'm grateful or not missing out on ABC. That's an important mindset to cultivate. You cannot learn Python. You cannot do a chartered accountancy. You cannot be a championship badminton player. You cannot be a national level yoga enthusiast all at the same time. It's not possible. You can reach them at certain points of time. But you're in college, and okay, I'm going to learn Python because the job market is hot for that. Then somebody says, well, Python plus MBA is the way to go. Right? I've heard this now. And okay, that's fine. And then Python plus MBA plus AI certified plus project management or product analyst. At some point, you see these LinkedIn profiles and they have 3 lines of visionary, expert, founder, this yoga, communication, Python. Like, I don't have even 1/10 of that skill set. So that's a person who cannot explain who they are. Don't be a do one thing at a time. One of my first managers told me this. If you cannot explain your job in 30 seconds, you don't know what you're doing. So always then, after that, because I used to I trade and I take these futures and I put this in warrants and so you don't know what you're doing. What do you do? I'm an investor bank. That's fine. Let that person ask you the next question. So don't, the FOMO lifestyle is only going to be one of the guys. It is fueled by another acronym, in my view, YOLO, right? You only live once, so you have to do as many things as possible. You don't need to do that. You will always be running after something. And that's not the way to live life. You want to achieve successfully, be content, and then achieve either in that direction or take another direction. Take my example. When I became a CEO, I felt most lonely because I realized that there is nobody who would understand what I was doing. When I talk to my friends about I'm having this challenge, they would say, well, you're a CEO, what do you have to worry about? No, there are certain challenges that come with that. So the only person who could understand me were other CEOs. But then I decided to take a right turn, and it may be the right turn towards yoga. That was the way that I decided to do. But most people today have the risk of chasing something. When you chase something beyond point, this FOMO, YOLO, etc., it doesn't necessarily make you soft. I wouldn't say it's soft. People are a lot stronger than they know. There is this quote that says, there is no option for you to be other than to be strong, but that's the only thing available. What if you're going through a major financial or health crisis of somebody in your family, and you are the one who's holding the family together? You have to be strong. There's no other option, and there's no other option. You realize how strong you are. So people are a lot stronger than they think they are.
However, when you chase with the fear of missing out on something if you don't do it, it will never give you a position of strength. It is important to chase. I've chased roles, I've chased assets, I've chased certain career aspirations. I've chased things in yoga saying I want to be able to achieve this level of breadth, this level of flexibility. But it's not because somebody else was doing it and I had to do it. It was a personal chase. And that gives you a sense of achievement. It builds a sense of confidence and it builds inner strength, which means that you say, okay, I aspired for this, I've gone after it, and I've got it. It could be as simple as running 3 kilometers, bending forward and touching your feet without bending your knees. That's a fruitful chase. It is not being driven by somebody else's opinion of what you should be doing. And that's always a source of strength. So when you look at it from this aspect, your point, people end up sounding and looking softer than they are, which in my view they are not. So when you come in and tell, I want to do Python because my classmates are doing it, you come across as somebody who does not have an opinion. When you claim that this person made a fuss and got a cushioned chair at work, whereas I'm working in a regular chair, you're not getting a chair because you have a problem. You're getting another chair because somebody else made a fuss and got a better chair. So you come across as weaker than you are. Stick to your principles. First build principles and then stick to them, which today you can go in and on Twitter or on any platform and say 10 best quotes to live by. And you will have 1,000,000 10 best quotes to live by. Right? But what are the things that attract you? And when people choose to borrow these opinions on life, financial matters, relationships, career, they appear weaker than they are. So I will rephrase your question. We are actually stronger than we are. but we come across as weaker because we don't have any opinions or any principles of our own. And then when you see somebody who has them, and it's such a powerful thing to see when you see it in a youngster. When somebody at 25, 22 say, I'm going to study this, I'm working towards this, I'm learning this on the side, or I'm playing this sport, I'm doing this. They're like, I've not seen this clarity. So it comes across so refreshing, and they automatically sound and take this elevation of power and purpose, because everyone else is borrowing opinion. No, I want to buy the shoe because somebody bought it. Right. So that's big difference. So you are, and I think the current generation is stronger than they think they are. But the only way they can put it into action is that they have to form and build opinions and principles. It's very difficult, given the amount of information that's available. The process is required. Earlier you start, the more powerful you are, the stronger you are. You will hit your true strength. Let me put that there. The true strength is revealed.
So, there is something which we come across is everyone has certain sort of chain attached to them to a particular thing, which in my generation comes across as addiction, right? We have already heard about generation getting into social media addiction and drinking and partying. I think that major addiction is comfort. I think my generation has something sorted out that they think it's sorted out, but it's not. I think we feel that life is much easier than it is. What would you like to address it to the people, right, to the youngsters, that because you have worked this many years and you have seen the net? What is something you feel we should know as a younger generation so that we are prepared for our life ahead?
I'm going to sound a little cathartic, but a life without struggle is not a good life. It is either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. So there is pain. Get used to that. Boxers who prepare for a fight wake up at 4 a.m. They don't see their family for a year and a half. They run, they eat, they work out, box, work out, eat, run, eat. That's all they do for a year and a half. That's the pain of discipline. But what's the end of it? Glory, things that you've never achieved before. Why do startup founders who make it big get that status of godlike status? Because they've cranked up so many hours. Why does the cellist who practices so many hours feel that pride that he has hit a note or she has hit a note? She's performed at a level that nobody else has performed. It is the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Simple. You have to choose the pain that you love. Right? And I'll give you an example that I went through. I made a certain amount of dollars on doing research on a company on a set of companies that I wanted to invest in, and I was able to identify that script at a certain price, and I made a handsome profit. So the end result is Sathya bought the stock and sold it at that price, and he made a lot of money. But I know the amount of work that went into it. This was for one script. Read about the founders, read about the history, read about how they run, and looked at the numbers, saw the differences, all of those. Put everything that I learned in my school, college, accounting, work, to trying to understand. That is painful, but that's a pain that I love. So choose the pain that you love. Anybody who feels that they're going to get successful, and this is less to do with money. Your definition of success. If you feel you're going to get successful without pain, some fantasy world. It's very clear. Yoga is the most painful of journeys, but it is the most rewarding of journeys. People say, I want to hit this spot of bliss, consciousness where I hit that spot. I know how long it took me to get to half a second. And it took me another X number of months to hit another half a second. But the reward beats every single effort that you put. Right? So first, it's either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Embrace the pain. As they say, so many podcasts are embrace the struggle, embrace the pain. The second thing is, I think Talan, says this. The difference between people who use technology and people who are slaves. The slaves at least knew that they were not free. Like we don't even know that they are not free. There are people who have to, that instinct to just grab the phone every X seconds. And your phones now have this report they give you. They said you opened it so many times, you opened this app so many times, you picked up the phone so many times. That is a real addiction. I would say on par with any other addiction, be it alcohol or anything else. So you're always consumed by what's happening elsewhere. You're not focusing on what's happening inward. This is a form of slavery. The more you do that, the lesser you're going to focus. Social media, technology is a tool, but it is not your life. There are people who live, and we do these treks in the mountains once a year with my friends in Uttarakhand. They check their phones. They have to walk X number of miles to check the phone. Just imagine X people going from Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, and you're told you won't have coverage for 8 days. Most people by the third hour are freaking out. They do not know what to do. So that phone is just coming out instinctively. But nothing works. The only thing you can do is click pictures of yourself and everything around you. By the second day, they've taken so many pictures. Because firstly, everything is beautiful. And secondly, that's the only thing you can do with your phone. By the fourth day, they're not even near the phone, which is the vipassana where you de-addict, right? So, the discipline will drive you away from addiction. So pick your discipline. Pick your passion. And if you're lucky enough to find it early on, I found mine at 45. I'm so one of the oldest startup founders who get into yoga startup technically at this age. But if you're able to find it early on, you're blessed. And then the pain begins. Phelps, there is an interview of Michael Phelps that you have. He said he didn't miss a weekend for 5 years. He didn't even miss a weekend. He didn't even miss a Sunday to train. Because he said that gave me 52 more days in a year. So by the time somebody has to catch up, he's already 50 days ahead just by doing Sundays as well. That is painful. You get no days off for 5 years. And guess what? You've got 27 odd gold medals. Nobody's going to come close to that. Unless they become as good as what they spend that time. So the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Because even at, you don't need to wait to 75 and feel regretful. I have friends at 48 and 50 who say, I knew more than X 10 years ago. Well, he's worth $100 million. I'm not. X and I were worth the same amount of money in the stock market 10 years ago. We both had our model. X spent more time building that model, whereas I was okay doing whatever. Well, he's worth 200 million and I'm not. X was training to learn this, and he and I were at the same position in the company. X is now head of this company in India and I'm not. These are regretful statements. I could have also been this, I could have done this. I could have become a vice president at Infosys, so senior vice president at HCL. The number of times I hear this now, those are regrets because you didn't choose to spend the time to learn. So always choose and embrace the pain in the direction with the thought where you want to. That pain will take you where you want to go. And as a youngster, you have the time and the energy that you can focus that on. So this 10,000 hour concept that was promoted, you can start at 24. It's just mind-boggling where you will be at 35. It's mind-boggling. There's people who are multi-billionaires who have achieved certain things that most people can't even think of at a certain age because they've just started early and stuck to the path. So I always say, and I'm saying this with experience, pain is inevitable, pain is eternal. It is the pain that you choose to love that will take you where you need to go. You think climbing Mount Everest is easy? People are climbing now without oxygen. There's so many people, there's so many bodies on the way. It is more painful, but what's the reward? Climb the tallest peak in the world. Embrace the pain. Just take that as the mantra. Embrace the pain, choose the pain, go with the decision. Just execute towards it. Success is inevitable. Success is guaranteed. But you have to choose the pain. There is no chilling out. There is never the difference between relaxation and chilling out. Right? So you can relax, but don't chill out completely. Because the pain will direct you towards it.
Okay. Thank you for being with us, and we'll be back with another part very soon.
Thank you.